How does American politics really work? Last night, I attended what looked like a typical grassroots political event here in Palm Beach County, Florida. But for the first time, I really got a clear picture of how American politics works at the local level. The Florida Republican primary is just 8 days away. 3 major statewide officials were there. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier, Chief Financial Officer Blaise Ingoglia, and Commissioner of Agriculture Wilton Simpson. Club 47 is not an official Republican Party organization, and it is not a government agency. It is an independent political community that regularly brings together Trump supporters, grassroots volunteers, and local political leaders, and events like this offer a real look at how grassroots politics works in America. First was Attorney General James Uthmeier. He focused on 3 key issues: law, public safety, elections. He talked about fighting violent crime, fentanyl, crimes against children, and online child exploitation. He also talked about tougher penalties for retail theft and making election integrity a priority in state law enforcement. His message was clear: if a law is on the books, it has to be enforced. Next was Florida Chief Financial Officer Blaise Ingoglia. His focus was on a different question. How should government spend your money? He talked about reducing waste, fraud, and abuse, protecting taxpayers, and maintaining Florida's low tax, lower regulation environment. He put it very simply: government is not spending its own money. It is spending the taxpayers' money, and that means government has to be accountable and responsible for the results. The third speaker was Commissioner of Agriculture Wilton Simpson. He focused on a much longer-term question. What will Florida depend on to sustain itself in the future? The population is growing. Cities are expanding. What happens to farmland? What happens to our water resources? And what happens to our food supply? He talked about protecting agricultural land, the Florida Wildlife Corridor, and protecting development rights so farms can remain in agricultural production. That is about much more than agriculture. It is about land, water, food security, and the long-term future of a growing state. Sitting there and listening, one thing became especially clear to me. American politics is about much more than the president, the governor, or members of Congress we see on television. It also includes grassroots organizations, local voters, volunteers, and community events like this. Political leaders meet directly with voters. Voters hear their policies and ask questions, and local organizations use these events to build support, mobilize people, and make their voices heard. Politics is not something that happens far away from us. It happens in our communities, in our neighborhoods, and ultimately in every vote we cast. Of course, this event also had a clear election component. The Florida Republican primary is on August 18th. So last night was both a policy discussion and a direct conversation between political leaders and grassroots voters. For me, the most important part of attending an event like this is not immediately deciding who to support. It is taking the time as an ordinary citizen to understand who is making the policies that affect us, who is managing our tax dollars, who is protecting our communities, and whose ideas are most consistent with the future we want for our lives. Every vote we cast is about more than choosing a name. It is a choice about the kind of community we want to live in, the kind of future we want for our children, and the kind of safer, more stable, and more hopeful future we want for our families. Understand, compare, and then make your choice at the ballot box. That may be one of the most direct and important ways an ordinary American citizen can participate in our democracy.